Hello students, once again I welcome you all in my new video for class 8th students. In the previous video we have completed the physical properties of non-metals, which was a part of chapter 4 materials, metals and non-metals. So in that particular video we have seen that the non-metals are non-sonorous, non-ductile, they are non-malleable. But when we are going to see the physical properties of metals, they are very contrast to non-metals. So I hope you still remember all those points, that how the non-metals are different from metals on the basis of their physical properties. So today we are going to see another important topic from this chapter, that is chemical properties of non-metals. So let's start this topic today. The first property of non-metals is what? Electronegative character. Actually, electronegative or electronegativity means the elements are having a tendency to accept electrons from their surrounding elements. So non-metals remove electrons from electropositive elements and act as oxidizing agent. So we will see all these words, electropositive or electronegative, or what do we mean by oxidizing agent. So first, maybe many of you are aware about a process that is known as oxidation. So what do we mean by oxidation or reduction process in the field of science or chemistry? So oxidation is what? Addition of oxygen or removal of electron from any element. So perhaps you are still remember that digestion process, when it completes, we do another process, chemical process in our body, that is known as respiration. And respiration is what? Oxidation of food, because we are going to intake oxygen from atmosphere just to break down the food that is absorbed in our body. So reduction means what? Removal of oxygen or addition of electrons. So whenever oxygen is removed from any chemical compound, that is known as what? Reduction. Or whenever electrons are added to any element, this process is known as what? Reduction process. Here you can see in the example, this is what? The chemical formula for chlorine, that is Cl. When this chlorine is going to accept the electron, it is going to form chloride ion. So chloride ion means you are observing here Cl minus, negative sign is denoting that this is not chlorine, this is in the form of ion. So we will discuss here what do we mean by ion. Actually, ions are charged elements. Whenever any element is going to lose electron from it, or it is going to gain electron from the surrounding element, so it will be considered as charged particle, and these charged particles are known as ions. So on the basis of their charge that is present on the particles, whether it is positive or negative, the ions may be of two types, that is anion or cation. So what do we mean by anion? Anion is what? Negatively charged particles. As you are observing here, this is not chlorine because it is in the form of ion. You are observing here the negative sign. So this is what? Chloride ion, and this is not hydrogen, because when we are going to represent hydrogen, it will be represented like this. This is what? Hydrogen, but this is what? Ion in the ionic form, and this ion is known as hydride ion. So anion are the negatively charged particles, and cation positively charged. Here you can see this is a symbol of sodium metal, but you know it is not sodium, it is the ion of sodium, and this one is what? Hydrogen ion, this one is sodium ion. So you can see the charge here, both of them are carrying positive charge. So from this definition, you can observe here, since chlorine is going to take electron from some other element, so it is going to work as an oxidizing agent, means it is responsible to oxidize some other elements in its surrounding. So it is behaving, means not only chlorine, you can see here oxygen, it is going to take 2 electrons from the surrounding elements and it will be converted into oxide ion. So all the non-metals are having a tendency to form anions. Anions means you can see here negatively charged, because they are going to accept electron from the surrounding elements. So this is the first property, chemical property of non-metals. But when we are going to consider one more non-metal, that is hydrogen, it is an exception and a very important point. You have to remember this, that hydrogen acts both as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent, means hydrogen is having a tendency to either lose electron or to gain electron. So when the hydrogen is going to accept electron, means when it is going to show the electronegative character, it will be converted into hydride ion, H minus or negative sign. And when hydrogen is going to lose electron, then you can see here negative, means one electron is going to lose or release from the hydrogen, so it will be converted into hydrogen ion with a positive sign. So only this hydrogen is going to behave as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent, but other than this hydrogen, all the non-metals are having a tendency for working as an oxidizing agent. So I hope these two processes, oxidation and reduction, are now clear to you, and if it is asked to you what do we mean by anion or cation, you may now able to tell the definition, what do we mean by cation and anion, and about them we will discuss some more things in the next chapter in the same standard. We will discuss about the anions and cations in the chapter chemical properties of current. So don't worry about this. Let's see the next topic, next chemical property of non-metals. So the another chemical property of non-metal is the reaction with oxygen. What is going to happen when any non-metal is going to react with the oxygen present in the atmosphere? So all the non-metals are going to form oxides of them, but these oxides may be acidic or neutral. Do you remember the reaction of metals with oxygen? If you so, then you may be aware that the metals are going to react with oxygen, but their oxides were basic. But now here you are observing, when we are going to consider about the non-metals, their oxides are acidic or maybe neutral. So the first example here, when we are going to see, this is what? Nitrogen. When the nitrogen is going to react with oxygen, it is going to form NO, nitric oxide, and this nitric oxide is neutral in nature, neither acidic nor basic. One more example of nitrogen, when this nitrogen is going to react with excess of oxygen, you can see here the oxygen molecule is 2 in number. So this is going to form nitrogen dioxide. Di means what? Here you can see NO2, means the oxygen is what? 2 in number, nitrogen dioxide, and this is what? Acidic in nature. Here again phosphorus, when it is going to react with oxygen in limited amount, then it is going to form phosphorus trioxide P2O3, and when the same phosphorus is going to react with oxygen in excess amount, when the oxygen is sufficient or excess amount, then it is going to form P2O5, that is what? Phosphorus pentaoxide. And perhaps some of you are aware about this, that yellow phosphorus is kept under water as it is readily reactive with the oxygen that is present in the atmosphere. As you have seen that sodium and potassium are kept in the kerosene because they are very readily reactive with the oxygen. In the same way, whenever the phosphorus gains oxygen in the surrounding at room temperature, it will start reacting with the oxygen, and that is why always yellow phosphorus is kept under water so that it cannot react with oxygen. You can see here, when carbon is going to react with oxygen in limited amount, so it is going to form a compound of carbon and oxygen that is known as carbon monoxide. You know, carbon monoxide is very poisonous gas, and when the carbon is going to react with sufficient amount of oxygen, it is going to form carbon dioxide gas, which is acidic in nature. So carbon monoxide is neutral in nature, but carbon dioxide is acidic in nature. And CO means carbon monoxide. Mono means single, as the oxygen is single here, and di means what? Two, as the oxygen is having here two atoms. Now, carbon monoxide is very poisonous, and perhaps you are having a knowledge that whenever any person is going to inhale this carbon monoxide, the hemoglobin is more affinite to this carbon monoxide gas in comparison to the oxygen, and always our hemoglobin will carry carbon monoxide with it in spite of carrying oxygen gas. So this is very lethal gas also, because the person will not able to inhale oxygen from the surrounding in the presence of carbon monoxide. One more example is here. Sulfur is going to react with oxygen. When the oxygen is limited, then it is going to form sulfur dioxide, SO2, and when the sulfur is going to react with excess amount of oxygen, it is going to form sulfur trioxide, and these oxides are very responsible for acid rain. Maybe you are aware about acid rain. Whenever these sulfur is going to release from the automobiles, the combustion process, and it is going to react with the oxygen in the atmosphere, and they are going to form the oxides of sulfur, which are responsible for acid rain. So next, very important property of these non-metals is what? Reaction with halogens. Actually, halogens are what? Elements like chlorine, bromine, iodine, because they are going to form salts. So they are known as what? Halogens. When hydrogen is going to react with chlorine, they are going to form a compound that is known as hydrochloric acid, HCl. You are aware about it. And you can see here, when the phosphorus is going to react with chlorine, they are going to form phosphorus trichloride. So whenever these are going to react with the halogens, they are going to form covalent compound, covalent bonds, and this is the another property of non-metals. So the next chemical property of non-metal is the reaction with hydrogen. So we will see how the non-metals are going to react with hydrogen and which compound they are going to form. So generally when non-metals react with hydrogen, they form hydrides, and these hydrides may be acidic, basic or neutral in nature. So as you can see here, when sulfur is going to react with hydrogen, they are going to form a compound that is known as hydrogen sulfide, and this hydrogen sulfide is acidic in nature. When nitrogen is going to react with hydrogen, they are going to form a compound that is known as NH3, represented chemical formula, and this is what? Ammonia. And you know about the ammonia in the first chapter, agriculture. So ammonia is basic in nature. Next, when oxygen is going to react with hydrogen, then both of them are going to create another compound that is known as water, chemical formula H2O. And you know the water is neutral in nature, neither acidic nor basic, and this is the reason why when pure water or distilled water is considered as bad conductor of electricity. So the next chemical property is what? Reaction with acids. So generally all the nonmetals do not react with acids because they are not having any ability to displace hydrogen from dilute acids, because you know here hydrogen acts as the oxidizing as well as reducing agent. So nonmetals never reacts with acids, means dilute acids, but some of the nonmetals can react with the concentrated acids. So the last topic, reaction with water. As we have seen there in the case of metals, that metals react with water in certain situations, but here when we are considering about non-metals do not react with water, and you know the reason, because they are not having any ability to displace hydrogen. So we know here non-metals do not react with water, but metals react with water. So that was all from today's topic, today's discussion, that what are the chemical properties of non-metals, like they behave, electronegative character they show, and hydrogen acts both as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent. What will happen when the nonmetals are going to react with oxygen? And this is the question which is frequently asked in the exams, that what is the difference between the oxides of nonmetals and oxides of metals? Because you know here the oxides of nonmetals may be acidic or neutral, but the oxides of metals are what? Basic in nature. So this is another difference in the metals and nonmetals. So keep remember all these important points. What do we mean by ions, and what are the two types, anions and cations? What is oxidation process? What is reduction process? And about CO, carbon monoxide, that it is very poisonous gas when we consider about the oxygen, because this hemoglobin present in our blood is more affinity to this gas in comparison to the oxygen gas. And this yellow phosphorus is kept underwater because it is highly reactive with the oxygen present in air. And this hydrogen non-metal, it is acting as the oxidizing as well as reducing agent. So that was all from today's topic, and few questions as a form of assignment will be given at the last of today's video. So I hope you all will be able to solve them. Till then, we are going to meet in the next video. Take care of yourself, be safe, and keep studying.